Unemployed woman wants everyone to die.
So anti-natalism, put as simply as I possibly can, is the belief that it is unethical to create new life. I'm what is called a sentiocentric
A Redditor?
anti-natalist, which means that I'm for the non-existence of anything that has the possibility of feeling.
Just to be clear, you mean that everything should die, right?
My anti-natalism would apply to not just humans, but to animals, to sentient machines, to anything that
Dogs,
has
cats, squirrels, frogs.
the whole kit and caboodle.
They should all go.
They should all go, yeah. My concern is anything that has the possibility of
You know what's crazy? I don't even have to say anything.
saying ouch. You know, if the trees all of a sudden start winking at us and start screaming, then they would become my concern.
It's because communication has aesthetic values ascribed to them. Not everyone can be 6'4" gigachad with piercing blue eyes, wearing soy blockers on a daily basis.
What's this language being used? I think she's the last person who you would want showing concern towards something. You see, my anti-natalism means that I want everything that's not a plant to die. Don't a lot of plants require
Built like a Boston bakery business building.
bees or butterflies to pollinate them? Do the bees and the butterflies get to stay, or do those have to die out too? I'm not sure she's figured out the logistics of her mass extermination plan, but let's at least see
Well, what kind of American are you?
why she wants all sentient life to cease existing.
Why is it that you want animals that feel to be abolished?
Because I believe that one of the greatest products of life is the production of suffering. There's all of this incredible amount of suffering.
Obviously, she hasn't read Viktor Frankl. Man's Search for Meaning. Doesn't even know about Sisyphus. I suffer, therefore I am. Don't even get me started on Yukio Mishima, Sun and Steel. Everything in life is suffering. That's what adds meaning to it. I'm telling you, these are profound insights from the CEO of Third Eye Global. And there's going to be one day where these transmissions across cyberspace are not available to you anymore. Because I, too, will perish with time.
She's joking, right? That's like the motivation of a Final Fantasy villain, and I know she gets that reference. Ironically, I swear I saw a random video of her trying to distance herself from Hitler. So recently I went down a weird rabbit hole of anti-natalism that would include streamers like NMP, saying that it's okay that a bunch of kids died in a Texas flood because AI was going to ruin their
Dude, he's just an edgy streamer, brah. He just keeps it real. You just don't understand his jokes.
future anyway.
They don't have much to live for anyways. It's okay.
Wait, they have their whole lives ahead of them.
Yeah.
What? Their whole lives, Bree? When they're older, every job is going to be AI. There is no future.
Classy, a very emotionally appropriate thing to say 10 seconds after a tragedy happened. After seeing this clip, I found some abortion activism as well.
I'm so pro-choice, I don't even think it's pro-choice anymore. I'm pro-abortion. Yes. Go get one. Everybody should get an abortion. Everybody should have one. Nobody should be pregnant.
She wants all of you to die. Remember that.
We should stop having kids. Stop having kids. Go get an abortion. What are you doing? Why are you pregnant?
And don't forget celebrities like Chelsea Handler bragging about how great it is to be in her late 40s childless with no family. I'm sure Hassan Piker and his whole fan club love that idea as well. So ideas against having children are frequently perpetuated by those in media who permanently want to live in their 20s, or by the mentally ill, and it really just kind of preys on younger people who are unfortunate enough to have listened, who then end up burning significant portions of their life on hedonistic activities, until they wake up in their 30s, decide they do want a family, and realize that they either don't have much time left or realize that it's too late.
I mean, think about this. Working out, accomplishing your goals, having a family. These are all time and attention intensive activities / behaviors that are literally the epitome of delayed gratification. Childbirth. It's a long, hard, arduous process. Raising a child. It's not easy. There's ups and downs. There's obstacles. But everyone continues to do it. Why? Because it's fulfilling. When you live a life of comfort and hedonism and degeneracy, you get fat, you become venomous and toxic, and you start projecting your insecurities on other people, which is why nobody takes this person seriously. As Jordan Peterson would say, you're not an attractive creature. Now, he's talking about young men, but the message is the same. I'm talking metaphorically, but the physical follows the physiological and the mental. You are a product of your inputs. Some would call those outputs.
Somewhere in that is where people like Amanda come in. Amanda is one of the leading devout anti-natalists on YouTube, who formerly was known for her Dragon Ball action figure collection and her cosplay videos.
Hi, me Boo! Boo love Boo toys! Boo love chocolate!
Well, that was terrifying. Wait, was that chocolate vegan? You wouldn't want to make cows suffer, would you? Amanda is also in her 40s and of course is unemployed and probably lives with her parents.
What do you do for work?
I'm unemployed at the moment. I am a caregiver.
I wonder why. Seems like a joy to be around.
So that's kind of a job.
Yeah,
but
that's what you've been doing.
That's what I've been doing, yeah, for a long time now. And a lot of anti-natalist activism.
Right, that's what I would say too if I was in your situation. You don't live with them, they live with you. And of course, she's an activist because as a useless person, activism is a way for her to feel important, as Thomas Sowell would say, along with noting that activists have a great reputation for actually harming the people they claim to help. And a part of that is that activists will almost always hide behind some sort of virtue or polite sentiment.
I think that any amount that we can alleviate the harm that humans do is excellent. I mean, I think so long as life exists on the planet, we should try to make it as good as possible. You know, antinatalism is not saying, let's just give up and let everything go to absolute hell.
You sound like you're giving up, and certainly everything would go to hell.
It seems like she got one-shotted by logical theory. I think that's the umbrella term for what she's describing. It reminds me of the Zizians, and it's pretty on brand that there's a picture of a rotting boat. Those of you who don't remember, it was a cult of hippies that would play these games of logic in their head and basically come to conclusions that are batshit insane for the sake of mentalization and logic itself. It's like everything can be solved if you just think about it.
If the world was depopulated, but isn't this all wonderful? You see, she's an optimist who wants the best and is very calm and matter-of-fact about her desires to exterminate all humans.
I would prefer that human beings decide collectively in a more benevolent fashion to end themselves in a much gentler way, and also to take responsibility for the rest of life on this planet. Now, for us, that means just not procreating. You know, there's no need for any violence. There's no need for anything nasty.
How is there a gentle way to do this, assuming that tomorrow
Soy nihilism. That's what this can be summed up as.
everyone decides to stop having children? Who takes care of all the people who are physically dependent on others? Did you not say that you were a caretaker? Well, in your ideal future, if grandma falls and can't get up, then she gets to stay on the floor until she starves because there won't be enough people around to help her. Not to mention that because happiness and fulfillment is found in fostering good relationships with other people, how are the remaining survivors going to feel when everyone they know dies and there's no one around to connect with? That sounds like it would cause intense suffering. I don't think she gets how sadistic her fantasy sounds. Well, maybe she does, because I've gone down the rabbit hole far enough to see other stuff she said.
In the interest of the end, if you could end suffering tomorrow, yeah, probably anything is justifiable. Like if I found out tomorrow that the only way that you could...
Is this the devil's talking? Because life is suffering. So the devil will try to convince you that you don't have to suffer.
Sentient extinction could possibly happen was skinning all the living things alive slowly. I'd hate it, but I would say that it's what we have to do. And I also get that, like, human beings at least really don't deserve to be tucked into bed and kissed goodnight. You know, I get that.
Right. It's not like we deserve to be tucked in or any humane treatment, and because some people are bad, everyone deserves to be tortured into non-existence. Keep in mind that she's saying that these justifiable means should be happening to children too.
Where does she inherit this belief for real? Femcelldom? The internet? I don't know about you guys, but I want to be tucked in.
This is why we have guns in America, everyone. It's to protect ourselves from people with sick ideas like this, because you never know if they're going to act on them or not. And let me be clear, this was the most YouTube-safe thing I could find her saying in her backlog. Her original channel was actually banned on YouTube, and she currently is ban evading. But at this point, I'm curious what she means by activism. I did see a talk where she happily speaks about being on an episode of Tosh.0 from like 10 years ago.
You're transgender.
I am.
Born woman?
Yes.
Are you transitioning?
No, I'm not. I sort of identify more as monster than male or female, really, so I'm pretty happy just being, like, kind of in the middle somewhere.
What in the quirk chungus is going on here?
Wonderful. She's definitely a monster, I'll agree with that. Let's check out her Instagram. Here's Amanda holding up a sign that says, "Normalize anti-natalism," with no one around her. That's poetic. We are the most invasive and overpopulated species? Isn't being invasive a good thing? She said she wanted all sentient life to be gone, and if the humans are gone, then all the animals aren't going to stop reproducing, so we would have to get rid of all the animals first, if that's even possible, and then we would go second.
I think she just hates humanity. But where does that stem from? Narcissus speaks of this.
I mean, this kind of seems counterproductive to your whole goal of ending suffering. Apparently, she works with a group called Stop Having Kids, who also have an Instagram with a lot of posts where people are on camera just disagreeing with them.
I want to have some kids, man. I want some babies. I want a little me. You know what I'm saying?
Why is that?
Why?
Yeah.
Because we're not going to live here forever, man.
Why would you opt for biological children instead of adopting?
Because I want somebody that look like me. I want to be like that. That's me right there.
Really?
Yeah, hell
Is
yeah.
that important to you?
Hell yeah.
Yeah?
Fuck the little people. I want my...
What purpose does this serve? I mean, we are so deep in the slop trenches right now.
Shit.
Or there are videos of people making fun of them.
Yeah, do you guys want any condoms?
I don't use them. Life's all about the risk, you know?
The evil part in me hopes he has an unplanned pregnancy out of spite for the anti-natalist. This Stop Having Kids group also appears to be run by radical vegan activists who are even more radical than the typical vegan activist.
This is like a machine gun of soy. If I didn't have these blockers on, I mean, who knows what would happen.
Because instead of telling people to not eat meat, they want all humans to die out to save...
You know what's crazy? I actually maximize my own suffering. Just to feel something.
the animals.
When do we kill all humans?
Now, if you think this is all confusing and contradictory to Amanda's goals, well, that's because it is.
Not because I hate myself, but because I need to be stronger to overcome what the world will throw at me. Do not ask for a lighter burden, but for stronger shoulders.
And it's because there are varying degrees of anti-natalists, and they don't all agree with each other on who or what should be ended.
This is just unemployed behavior. These people don't have anything to do. They have no vision, no goals, no purpose. So they just troll about. They just piss people off. And this is what we call the slop tax, okay? If they're going to do that, if they're going to get attention, then I'm going to siphon it from them and convert it into ad revenue, which then buys my black coffee, which keeps me absolutely dialed.
Technically, this group is more peaceful than Amanda because they only seem to want humans to die out. Stop Having Kids also does activism globally. Here's a picture of them in India. This kind of seems passive-aggressive and racist, but I'm sure there are a bunch of people on Twitter who would have no problem helping you achieve this goal.
There's a lot of Indians. I'm just saying, I don't know if India's the place for this message.
Indira Gandhi would be proud too. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these activist groups are paid by rich people to depopulate certain nations, because I guarantee you that this messaging only works in places that are super feminist. You'll never convince Muslims of this. Depopulation is antithetical to their beliefs, but I'm sure they would love you telling all their competition to stop having children. Here's another great sign. Women are not baby-making machines. And then the caption says, unfortunately, these pregnancy centers outweigh abortion clinics. Yes, it's so unfortunate that there are organizations out there telling people to have families. Wait, is abortion vegan? Anyway, back to the original video, as Amanda wants to educate us on natural biology.
The impetus to procreate is really culturally built. What we want is to have sex. We don't have an instinct to have children. We have a cultural sort of mandate and a lot of pressure put on us.
I think a lot of women probably have a strong urge to have a child.
I think a lot of women are culturally...
Isn't it like a biological necessity? Isn't the ooga booga caveman side of us to reproduce? Isn't that quite literally the only purpose?
Mandated to have that instinct. Boys become men and girls become procreators.
Yes, nobody...
I know not everyone wants kids or is capable of having kids, but there is some hardwired source code in there that makes one probably more times than not want to have kids.
Actually wants kids. It's all a societal construct forced on us by the powers that be. Okay, we get it. You hate children, so you don't understand why anyone would have an interest in something like watching a kid grow up. It's all about sexual desire, and then oops, now you have an 18-year commitment. How terrible it is to have a family. Honestly, though, after hearing about some of the stuff that got Amanda's original account banned off of YouTube, I think she is the last person who should be around kids, so maybe her choice to not reproduce.
I quit gooning to maximize my blue ball suffering. Probably makes you so cracked. Think of all the work you can get done now.
It's her gift to society. Though I love how the irony of this clip from a different interview was lost on her.
I have had some interesting situations with other like fellow artists where they become very, very inspired by the subject of anti-natalism.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they are also struggling with being natalists and wanting children. And so I have had a couple of instances where, you know, there's been some plan to make work around it together, but then they go to the dark side. They have the kid anyway. So I've had that instance.
The way she said that last part was kind of weird. Did she like try to convince someone who wanted kids to get an abortion to fulfill her
This is just dark energy.
philosophical fetish? What the hell? That is super dark if that's the case. But if Amanda culturally conditioned them to not have kids and they ended up doing the opposite, how can she argue that there isn't at least some natural impulse to have children? I mean, especially in women who get close to 30. Aren't you the expert on this? Was all of this in your college thesis?
If I can't get pussy, no one can.
Spent 2 years of graduate school talking about nothing but antinatalism and ephilism. I mean, it was, you know, the ephilist was my graduate thesis.
So you went to graduate school and you're unemployed living with your parents in your 40s.
Many
what have
such
you been doing
cases.
your entire life? Though, imagine being in the same classroom or being Amanda's teacher and having to read a thesis on why everyone should be eliminated. These kinds of things really...
Imagine spending tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to get a degree. You're just surrounded by academia slop. And your thesis is on the extermination of humanity. What a scam, dude.
They speak to how delusional the hardcore anti-natalists are when they say stuff like this.
And Vehement is voluntary human extinctionists, as the name implies. They want humanity to go extinct so that the animals may inherit the earth. They are an environmentalist group. They believe that nature without humanity will recover and be just fantastic, and that the animals will be very, very, very happy. Look, I love so much of what Vehement does. I just want to make that point perfectly clear, because I think people sometimes believe that I don't. But I don't believe with their final conclusion.
I need a bajillion tax dollars to study these creatures.
But everything else is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, her disagreement on the final conclusion is that she wants animals to be gone too, not just humans. But do these people have any idea how brutal nature is?
Sorry, my CIA handler, robot, palantir, spy, had to chime in.
Watch a bear eating a deer on the internet and tell me that's happy and peaceful. I mean, there are certainly far more ways to farm humanely, but don't...
Nature is hunting, killing, surviving, not Disney Bambi slop. Isn't the beginning of Bambi exactly your point?
pretend that nature is this blissful place.
Human greed and laziness is going to
Yeah, I mean,
undermine your efforts.
It's not to say, I mean, you know, there's a lot that we can do to fix things on this planet. There's no question about that. And I think we should do as much of that as possible. But I think that we haven't shown any amount of success in combating things like greed.
I can agree that greed can get out of control, but you have no idea how many good things were created because people were greedy for money or because they wanted to...
Yeah, not to spoil the movie, but Bambi's mom gets shot in the opening scene.
impress women so they could have a family. Without these drives, you wouldn't be speaking into a microphone while people watch your recorded video on the internet with their computers and their phones. Oh wait, the best part comes next.
If somehow we could eradicate human greed,
Mm-hmm.
and we all became very benevolent, would you still then be an anti-natalist?
If we could prove that, if we really showed signs of being
Why is she talking about greed? She looks like the pot of greed.
able to do that, I would at least
optimist.
I think humanity would at least have an argument that like maybe this is
You should play League of Legends on the side right now. I would love to. I can't give this my full undivided attention. It's not good for my soul.
is something. There would at least be an argument. I don't think we're making much of an argument towards our continuation at this point.
I love how she almost drops her world-ending philosophy. If people were just nicer. Like, obviously, this is more about her grievance.
Dude, wait till she learns about dolphins and ducks. They be doing some crazy shit.
with modern society and not about what the moral thing to do is. Later in the interview, she says that nature creates winners and losers, and that's why things have to go. So basically, she's mad that she's on the losing end because she wasted her life buying...
They're on demon time. But like, physiognomy just doesn't lie. I have yet for it to be disproven.
Dragon Ball figurines and talking about a philosophy that will never be adopted en masse.
To create a new being is to put that potential sentient being at great risk, at risk of a poor quality of life. We do that.
Risk is everything. Risk is what makes you feel alive. No risk, no reward. Philion streams about this. God, this is so fucking gay and fake. Where's the will to power? Where is the self-ownership and actualization? This doom and gloom, gluttony, needs to stay far away from Third Eye Global and the movement.
Without consent. Now, I know what you're going to say. It's impossible to get consent of a non-existent being, but that's part of the point. That's the nature of consent. If you can't get consent, then you don't take those risks. You don't impose that harm.
Oh my God, they didn't sign
I need a palate cleanser.
consent papers for being born. I love how consent matters here, but she didn't consider consent earlier when she was talking about her mass unaliving event, where every sentient creature gets brutally tortured. What a joke. Anyway, what really pisses me off about people like Amanda is that some amount of people are going to listen to her or listen to people like her when they're depressed or things aren't going well for them, and instead of improving their lives and pushing past that depression, they just sit there stuck with whatever horrific ideology that found them first. Sometimes it's a death cult. And let's be real.
That's true. Misery loves company.
This anti-natalist crap will never work. Barring some massive disaster, all humans and all animals will never die out. So what listening to rhetoric like this will actually end up doing is harm young people by convincing them to burn years of their life not working up to a family, and then by the time they snap out of saying things like, women aren't baby-making machines, well, holy shit, now you're at a significant disadvantage or worse.
Are they dressed like Handmaid's Tale?
And it's not just the crazies like Amanda who promote this. A lot of people with influence are telling everyone to not have kids. Like, this is a common narrative that will cause a lot of people to miss out on some of those valuable life experiences that you can get from having a family and from human connection. Of course, people like Amanda don't really understand the value of human connection because they're so annoying in their personal life that nobody wants to deal with them.
That's right. They're just icky to be around. They're so gooey and slimy.
I've never really kept my antinatalism or my ephilism or any other interest, fun things that I'm involved in, a secret. My antinatalism and all those ideas are just a part of a long list of things that people sort of have had a problem or not had a problem with, where I'm concerned. I mean, I've always been a lot for people to handle on one way or another. So it's...
You know what these people are so inherently scared of? And I'm going to cook right here. In fact, I'm heating up as we speak. One word, responsibility. It's true. The thought of responsibility scares them to death. They don't want to step up. They don't want to be held responsible for anyone or anything. They just want to live in the fucking goon pod and eat their cricket bars. And make Quirk Chungus, Dragon Ball Z, Funko Pop compilations for their fan bases of other miserable femcells, incels, and goblins. And responsibility extends to all different areas of life, right? The food choices that you have, your physicality, your mental, spiritual, emotional health. Because it's much easier to roll over and die than it is to have any sort of meaning, purpose, vision, goals, suffering, burden, responsibility, the things that make us human, which is why this is so grotesque at its core, because it's anti-human. Even literal slugs fight to survive and reproduce.
People have kind of taken as no surprise that, oh, there's another weird thing that, she's interested in that we're going to have to deal with. So
yeah, and so what happens is that they team up with other people who are annoying, and that's how activists are born. But as a person who has watched Amanda's
She has blood in her red 40 and seed oil system.
story play out in real life, the saddest funeral that I've been to was for someone like Amanda, where not only did the person die in a very depressing way, but it was the emptiest funeral that I've ever been to.
I've had the misfortune of experiencing personal tragedy at a young age multiple times in close proximity to each other. And what's the saddest thing about them is the potentiality for life. But these people don't even give life a chance. They just wallow in their despair and sadness.
Nothing is sadder than a funeral that no one shows up to because nobody actually liked you. The worst part, though, is that Amanda is trying to rob people of the value of suffering. Suffering is what turns you into a real human being. Risk and suffering are what make life interesting and
Did I not just say all of that?
worth living. Those moments not only build character and gift people with emotions, but they also foster a strong appreciation for when times are good.
Life throws curveballs at you sometimes. The only thing you can do
Is that the ghost of Kiev?
is keep fighting. And to me, that's what I tell myself when I'm having bad days, is that it's a privilege even to be able to fight.
And without suffering or hardship, you just become a fat, unemployed loser with a useless degree who is middle-aged and still dependent on her parents. Anyway, thanks for watching, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video.
Empty funeral, skill issue. On the cope cringe continuum, this has got to be cope. But it's also cringe. And I think it's a skill issue as well. It's hitting the trifecta of sludge.